kidding me?
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
It's always fun doing something new. Welcome edition, what? No. Reset, strike that, reverse it. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads, everyone. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the hold on a second. Are you about to tell us what down we are at? Would you please what is going on here?
Yeah, you know, that was a hell of a play, I gotta say, but the crackback came from the other side of the field, so they're only gonna get away with that once. The other team's definitely gonna pick up on that. Yes, this is my my broadcast headset that I use for calling wrestling. Instead of it being a condenser microphone, it's a dynamic microphone, which is great because my levels are so high all the time when I'm calling wrestling that a condenser microphone, like a hypercardioid or a supercardioid pattern doesn't work that well. So I thought this is the first time I've tried it out for a podcast, and we'll see how it sounds.
I'm more than willing to work with it. I was trying to send us live on TikTok, but for some reason the iRig stream doesn't want to behave, which normally it doesn't have issues. But also, we did just update the operating system on the old iPhone to 13.7 or some I don't know, man. I can't even track this crap anymore.
Right.
But that didn't work. That was my phone. No big deal. But other than that, this device has been very, very reliable. iRig Stream, a very fun way to get audio into either an iOS or Android device. Today is also going to be a very interesting show because...
Just a quick ask, it's USB-C or is it Thunderbolt?
It has the, first of all, Lightning. It has interchangeable cables. You can just go ahead and disconnect the Lightning cable, and then you can hook up the old, what is that thing called there? The old USB-C that you mentioned.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Which is also an amazing... I'm kind of pissed off, honestly speaking, at Apple for taking the approach that they have in not going with USB-C, because it's literally... how's the best way to put this? They literally will give you an iPhone with this Lightning cable, but then their MacBooks, which are, you know, the industry defining characteristic of their machine, are all USB-C.
Yep.
Why did they do this to us, Trent?
So that you have to buy a dongle.
Okay. By the way, what I was saying is that it's going to be an interesting and challenging show because I have a puppy running around here.
Yeah.
Winston,
tell us.
Come here.
Tell a little bit about Winston.
Yeah, my family, we early on in the quarantine. By the way, welcome to day 178 of quarantining, everybody. At least for me. Yeah.
Wow.
We early on in the quarantine, I don't remember what happened. I think my daughter Emily, the eldest, had said, "Oh, hi Miranda Janelle, hello James Smith. Thank you for participating. We love you guys."
I know who both those human beings are.
I would hope so. They are longtime listeners, sir. Early on in the quarantine, I think my family may have manipulated me just a little bit.
You think?
Yeah, I have a suspicion because the oldest, Emily, I think had said to my wife, "We should get a puppy," and naturally I bit at the moment she told my daughter, "You know, your dad has always wanted a corgi, so if you were to bring that up, might work."
And she brought it up.
So that started a quest, and somehow the stars aligned. He's obviously meant to be here because I just happened to contact the one breeder who doesn't have a long wait list. I mean, could be a bad sign if you look at it that way, but didn't have a long wait list. And he was born July 1st, and I think it was 2 Fridays ago now. He came home with us. He just turned 10 weeks as of Wednesday, I think. And he's a beautiful, enjoyable, wonderful, handsome boy. He is very smart, by the way, too. He already knows when he thinks about it to go to the back door to ask to go out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of miraculous.
Well, and breed-wise, corgis are I'm not going to say unstereotypically, but they are a lot more playful, even in older age, than other dogs, because they were bred to chase vermin in like barns and stuff.
Poor little boy.
They always want to like chase and grab stuff. They're always wanting to play. Oh
yeah, normally, but I just picked him up, and unfortunately, that's the second time he has ever done that. I think it might be the mask, and he may have been scared. That was horrible.
Sure. He's trying to smell through the mask right now to be like, "Oh, you're who I know you are."
I don't know what you is, my friend. Sorry, baby.
Some dogs get freaked out by people with beards. I have witnessed that a lot.
Sometimes it's not even dogs in your case, right?
Oh yeah, most women, in fact, I assume it's the beard, tend to have a similar reaction.
Christopher Ball saying hello, and Zach, hello, Zach. Zach's pointing out I got honey potted, which I would definitely say is the case. But yeah. He's a really handsome dog. He's exactly what I wanted, which was a tricolor. As you can see, he's got black and tan. You know, dude, I'm wearing a mask right now. You can come at me, and I'm not going to be too scared, to be honest.
Oh, the tricolor is great though, and I love the black being more dominant than the brown. Personally.
Me too. He is just a handsome little guy, and in general, he's got an okay personality. He's still developing, and
for sure.
They are much like our Samoyeds. They are a very I don't want to say stubborn, but they're a very headstrong breed.
Sure. Yeah.
And everything I've read says that in the next couple of weeks he's going to get a lot cuddlier. But for right now, he's still feeling out his new environment, but he really does enjoy it here, thankfully. And it's, the one thing I just I didn't remember is just what's the right way to put it? What is how much of a challenge puppies are?
Oh, God, yes. Yes, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is... But so far, it's pretty good. We're the type of people I'm going to let you down, buddy. There you go. We're the type of people that prefer to crate train because everything I have read says that dogs prefer their own safe space, their own den.
They're denning animals. Yeah, it's spot on.
Sean Ryan saying, "Cute puppy, kill me now." I agree. As a matter of fact, when we first picked him up, I took the day off of work, even though I think there was a Kevin Smith AMA that day. And when we picked him up, Emily, my daughter, came with me, and because, she instigated all this. And she held him, and honestly speaking, and I've never really had this reaction before, but while I was driving, I looked over at him, he looked over at me, and I'm just like, he's just too cute. I can't look at him. I can't look at him in the face.
Yeah, it is. We are evolutionarily programmed to react to things that are cute and have oversized eyes and smaller mouth features. Like we're programmed to protect those things and to just care for them so goddamn much.
Yes, and that's the reason why they're able to get out of their youth into older age because, come on. I mean, the thing I never realized, I read the guides because, again, I didn't remember how challenging it is to have a puppy. And so I did. Suddenly I was finding myself doing a lot of reading. Admittedly, I should have done weeks ago. And I was reading about how to potty train a dog again. And then I found a few amazing articles that were about the same topic, which is, how to potty train your dog in 7 days. Quite unsurprising, it's all about regimen. So he has a space that he goes to. That is where he sleeps, where he rests. He comes out, gets to go to the bathroom. Then he gets to come in, and for his proper performance. Also, by the way, you got to bribe these suckers every 5 seconds.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
But
Get them used to doing something quit early on.
yeah. And interestingly enough, too, I found out, I never knew this, and it's very helpful for a small to medium-sized breed like he is. Regular Cheerios are a great training tool. They love them, they enjoy them as a reward, and they're almost like 0 calories.
Yeah, and good fiber, so they're able to use the bathroom easily.
Which, believe me, he does. So anyway, you let them back in, and if they do everything outside and get rewarded for it like they're supposed to, then you can bring them in, and he's rewarded with some free time. And usually, you know, if a puppy wakes up or just eats or something, after they come in, they want to, like, basically play. And so you can let them do that for 10 minutes, but then it's right back outside. And then wash, rinse, and repeat.
Okay.
And so far, it's working out really well. I'm really pleased with the results. Aside from picking him up and making him scream, that's only happened once before, so it's a little traumatic.
And it's funny because Lurch has one of the highest pain tolerances of any dog I've met, and I don't say that out of and for those listening, Lurch is my 170 plus pound Newfoundland.
Dude, that's not a dog. That's another person.
I know. But like he can like bonk his head on the coffee table so hard that it moves the coffee table a foot, and he doesn't react at all. But when I'm combing or brushing his hair, I'll pull just a little bit, not even hard, on a mat, and he yelps as if his life is coming to an end. So a lot of it is just being startled or knowing what's going on. So try not to take it too personal.
I won't. It just would have been nice if it didn't happen on the air. But hey, you know what? There are bigger problems in the world. I gotta say, Trent, I don't know if you could do me a favor. By the way, if you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. One of them is Twitter. Trent, how do they do that?
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Be like a longtime listener and topic contributor to the program, Roller Dog NC Matthew. Just use the hashtag NetHeads.
That is the easiest way. By the way,
on Twitter. Obviously, if you're in watching us on Facebook, you jump into the chat. You might not. We don't know as far as like the real time reaction you'll get. But I'm definitely watching the Twitter hashtags.
You know, it's funny you mention that because I got to say something. Okay, and I don't want to say this because I feel like a bit of an asshat saying it. Because okay. Ash Williams has been on Twitter, has been one of our longest standing supporters, one of our longest standing viewers, whatever you want to say. But realistically speaking, I'm starting to think we might have a little bit of a concern about the hashtag getting a little diluted, if you will. Yeah,
I can see that as a concern. Sure.
And
he probably has just been like, come on, guys. When are you going to mention that this is not okay?
Yeah. Or it's like, hey, and my favorites are the Uber complaints that pop up. Some of them are gaming ones. But anyway, the hashtag NetHeads on there. Obviously, again, I just want to remind everybody because it keeps coming up. All of my social media handles have changed to that Will Wilkins because I'm a weenie that wanted to get some recognition. I think my wife just took the dog.
Oh, she heard it yelp and she's like, "What is he doing?"
Pretty much, yeah.
That poor thing.
They're never gonna allow him alone with me again, and he's supposed to be my dog. Anyway,
how are the Samoyeds getting along with him?
Yeah, that's a funny topic. The two Samoyeds we have, in case this is your first time listening or your first time catching us, they are rescue dogs. They grew up in a puppy mill situation that was extremely overcrowded in Idaho, and they are naturally recovering from that, and they've been learning over the past couple years to be people dogs, and they've done a great job. Okay, like we're now at the point that if I'm sitting on the couch, the female Yuki, she will, which is Inuit for freedom, I believe, She will, she'll jump up on the couch next to me all the time and look for attention. So that works out. And then the male, Rika, who is again another amazing and handsome example of an animal.
Gorgeous dog.
He has finally taken to me as well. So he'll come up asking for attention. So almost everything is perfect. Except now we've got barriers going up. So that way the puppy doesn't have free reign of the space.
Yep.
And in many ways, my Samoyeds are like cats when it comes to change.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so they don't like that the gates are up. It's been a disruption to their lives, but I think they're starting to accept their new normal now.
Okay.
So, but other than that, they've been getting along. Yuki gets a little what I think they call resource protective.
Yes.
Around the toys or us.
Yep.
And Rika just is extremely tolerant, and then will just vacate the premises. So everybody's getting along. And really, the thing that I without knowing a darn thing about the true dynamics or mechanics of canine behavior, when they would have issues and there would be growling or barking, my take was, okay, we got to let them work this out because, they're telling the puppy something and, they've just got to communicate on their own. My wife, God bless her, she did some real reading.
Right. Yes.
And what's actually happening is that they react to puppies the way they do when they do because the puppies don't know the appropriate etiquette or social graces, if you will.
Exactly. Yep.
So they're telling the puppy, "Hey, bro, not cool."
Yeah.
So that was an interesting learning experience. Welcome to Dog Talk. My name is Will.
Yeah. What is that dog podcast? Can I Pet Your Dog?
Oh, there you go.
It's on the Max Fun Network. Great podcast. If you ever want to listen to it.
Good to know. I probably will at this point. But yeah, everything's going real well for them. The only disappointing thing that has happened in the past couple of days is that Winston's normally shiny white paws are now kind of gray because everything is covered in ash, Trent.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. I should think so. That they would be covered in ash.
What are things like over in Utah? Because actually, you know what? If you could do me a favor, what I was trying to say earlier is if earlier you shared a link to me that I think might be helpful if you shared it to people on the hashtag NetHeads.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially a satellite image coupled with like thermal stuff and
it's the NOAA satellite.
Technology things, and it's showing where all of the current fires are and the smoke that they're emitting. Now, we've been dealing with it smelling like somebody's burning a campfire outside, gloomy nights, I think a couple weeks back I posted how the sun was red. Just the sun. Yesterday we woke up and it's like, what is that color? And sir, it was like we had gotten our ass to Mars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, and in San Francisco, the reason why I asked you to send that image is because we were catching some smoke from a fire that looks like it's more in alignment with kind of like the Tahoe region or the mountains around there. But then in the area that is north of San Francisco, kind of up along the coast, there's a few fires there, and all of these things were burning at once, not to mention the regrettable fires that are happening also in Oregon. So you had all these fires just spewing the smoke and all this unfortunate burning happening. And that smoke with the ocean or, with the regular airflow was just streaming down upon San Francisco. And some of it was converging from that Tahoe one I was mentioning into our area as well. And we woke up and it was just bright red for the majority of the day in a just a most creepy and terrifying fashion.
Yeah, like the photos that I'm seeing from you and from others is it straight up looks apocalyptic. Like post Cold War worst case scenario, like fantasy fiction type stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it was, and the thing too, like the night before it turned red, I was taking Winston out because, we got to take him outside to try and hopefully not have to wash a crate pad in the morning. And while I was doing that, I was using the flashlight on my phone. And at one point I turned it over and I'm like, oh my God, what are all these bugs? And then I'm like, no, holy crap. That's ash visibly in the air blowing around me in the same way that you would see gnats or bugs.
Holy crap.
Brother, look, all I got to say is the last 48 hours, if you've been outside and there's been light, you think you're in the frickin' Upside Down from Stranger Things. Because there's just stuff floating in the air. And yesterday I went out to my car without realizing what was going on. And it was just not buried in ash, because there are areas that are getting hit far heavier than we are, naturally from the fires themselves. But but like my car was not covered, but coated in ash. And today, when I went to go rinse my car off, I then carefully looked around at the ground, and you can see how it has dropped and settled, and the wind has caused it to coalesce, and it's just dirty out there. I feel kind of like I'm in an industrialized London or something.
Yeah, like Dickinsonian, right? Like of like the Industrial Revolution of the 1800s in London, the early 1800s.
You hit it right there on the nose, my friend. So it's been a very, very disturbing and creepy time, obviously for people as well. I mean, there have been people having to get evacuated out of in Oregon in certain regions. My wife's cousin, she evacuated her house, went to their aunt's house or her aunt's house, something along those lines. They had been no more settled than a couple minutes, and then they got an evacuation order, which is a story that I'm seeing repeating online as well.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it's been pretty nasty. Guido Calrissian asking, "Are you wearing a mask to be ironic?" Well, no, I'm wearing a mask because I am.
Great question, Guido.
It's almost like I've got to have a disclaimer every time we do this, though. When you see me on social media, except for these posts where I always forget to put it back on when I'm like, hey, we're live right now if you're seeing me. I'm wearing a mask because I want it to be something that is normalized. I believe that we are in a horrific pandemic situation that isn't going to get any better until everybody does the right thing. And I do it both to normalize the appearance of mask wearing, so that way it's not such a thing, but also to do it to demonstrate that I'm in no way, shape, or form inhibited by wearing a mask. I think the only thing I could do to improve the situation would to get one of those 3D printed like mask cages that they have that would separate it a little from my face. But in my case, what?
So it's basically just like an extender from your face to give you a little more air.
Yeah, it's kind of like a plastic wireframe, but in this case, the mask design that I use, which you can find at bit.ly/ and each one of the letters is capitalized at the beginning of the word, best fit mask. This one actually is made to extend here and cuts under and extends here. So it already kind of brings everything out front. And it really is comfortable. I can wear these things, obviously, for an entire podcast. So I'm doing it for those reasons. It's one of the few sad, pathetic ways I can make a statement about what is going on, I guess. So that's the reason why. I'm not trying to be ironic, but I am trying to make some type of statement, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just want to continuously remind Trent when we're podcasting together that I still have yet to make or send him the promised mask that I said I would send.
Hey, you know what? No rush. Sadly enough, I don't think that you're going to run out of time.
Yeah, tell me about it. So yeah, that's the reason why. Anyway, obviously things have been horrific. That was one really weird thing to wake up to, though, just to have everything glowing red. And as a matter of fact, there are certain things that you take for granted that don't even occur when the weather is like rainy or overcast, right? Because yesterday my wife turned off her alarm and I went upstairs to get something and woke her up. And because of the freakish red glow, things were darker even than when we're overcast. I mean, it was almost the same kind of eeriness that happened during an eclipse, if you will.
Exactly. That's exactly what at least the photos I'm seeing are like.
Yeah, but to bring us back to a technology podcast, anyway, the horrible red diffused light, which kind of makes sense because you also use a deep, rich red light in a room when you're developing film and stuff. So
Yeah.
light exposure is kind of down. Thank you, Miranda and Zach. I appreciate you guys appreciating me and wearing this mask because God knows, I'm not comfortable doing this. Anyway, the interesting thing though was trying to capture it. I've never wished to have an SLR more than yesterday, which I now realize I do, and I should have gotten it. But, hey, tech addict doesn't know what the hell he's got.
Right, yeah, it's not like you don't have an inventory list.
Our smartphones are so made to be convenient for taking good photos that it was a constant fight. The only way I got a picture of a similar color that still wasn't as rich red as what was actually out there was by taking the camera and pointing it at the floor inside and then quickly throwing it outside and taking a picture because our smartphones constantly fight to do a good, solid white balance correction for us.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, I've had my Sony Xperia for a year plus now, and I just barely found the white balance shift on it. And I have used that to no end because, and again, this is just a good reminder, like for me on shoots all the time, like, our eyes are so good at understanding and interpreting what white is, and cameras just aren't. They're just not that intuitive. The best auto white is never good. It's never accurate.
I can actually, I could do something, but, we're trying to do a podcast, so it's not exactly the best time to do it. But if I were to take I could take two pictures that I took side by side and you would see. One just looks like it's overcast in gray, and the other looks like it's a bizarre orange color, which I said wasn't as deep red. And this was experimenting both with an iPhone 11 and a Pixel 3 XL or 3A XL. I don't know what it is. It's the cheaper 3 pixel Android. Yeah. So I tried both. Couldn't capture it. But if I had a DSLR, wouldn't have been an issue. So that was kind of frustrating. But, there were plenty of pictures coming out of San Francisco that were just surreal.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, insane. And in here in Utah, we had a lot of smoke. It was high in the atmosphere. But then it came down into the valley and wasn't blocking out a lot of light, but it was blocking out visibility extremely. It was thick until for some I don't watch the news. I don't know why. We had and I guess it's been across the west. Some hurricane force winds came through the past couple of days, and blew it all west. So no more smoke for us.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I got to tell you something. The situation kind of sucks. Like I said, it's dirty outside. I've already taken a shower, but I'm going to have to take one before bed because I've been walking around in, typical quote unquote summer dad wear with cargo shorts and flip-flops. And right now my feet look like I've been walking around Middle Earth.
So is the ash like settling on like your patio furniture, your car, stuff like that?
Everything. It's on everything. The cracks of the door. I looked around the area out in the side yard where the garbage cans are. I looked in the cracks of the sidewalk. It's everywhere. It is just it's a lot. And it's when you're not immediately near a fire, it's unsettling. Now, the thing I don't understand that modern technology also provides us is insight into air quality, and somehow when we were trapped in Middle Earth, just outside of Sauron's gaze, if you will, we were trapped on the surface of Mars. They said the air quality was 84. Today it was like 100 and something. So yesterday somehow allegedly not as unhealthy as today when it just looked like it was overcast.
And that's based on particulates per square inch or per cubic centimeter, BCIM.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Something I don't know how to measure.
So and the only reason I'm familiar with it is because the Cache Valley and the Salt Lake Valley, they have heat inversions in the winter, which basically means that the ground is warmer than the air above it, and so it can't the the smog that we create and the heat can't escape that heat inversion. And so we'll have during the winter, these two locations will have air quality on par, if not worse, than Beijing.
Good God.
Yeah. So that's the reason I'm familiar with the BCIM.
Dude, 2020, enough already. We get it.
And we haven't even brought up the nerd rage that was announced yesterday from Doc Hammer and Jackson Public.
Oh God. Why would you bring folks?
I know.
Fellow netheads, we hang our heads in sorrow. Although, and I don't know where this rumor is coming from, there is talk about HBO Max having interest, which
Gosh.
yeah, but in a way it kind of makes sense because if I'm not mistaken, isn't somehow Cartoon Network and associated now with
They're owned by Time Warner.
Right, which was acquired in the AT&T merger, so it's all kind of within the same family. Cartoon Network announced that they canceled the Venture Brothers, which, look, I gotta be honest, after 7 seasons over the course of 17 years, I can kind of see the logic. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess, right?
But I mean, so again, if you can find it, Dark Horse Books put it out. Ken Plume did it is one of the best inclusive, totally catching every bit of the Venture Brothers. It's like a table, like an encyclopedia almost, but so much more because it goes into the production side of things. Anyway, this book on the Venture Brothers, it talks a lot about how they keep things so close to their chest in that it's a tiny team that works on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, which goes into part of the problem that it takes so long to make, is that they're not sending it to Korea to be rendered, to have the animators take the outlines and do everything. They're doing it all themselves.
I did not know, and if what I read is true. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the Venture Brothers, whatever platform it is available on to stream, highly recommend. It is one of the most brilliant yet self-referential and self-parodying cartoons I've ever seen. And it also, for nerds that love continuity, constantly calling back and reinventing itself. Constantly.
Yeah, and takes the boy adventurer theme of like Johnny Quest and even other themes that we loved so much in our youth of like G.I. Joe or Transformers, anything along those lines, and just looks at it in a very funny, critical way.
In some ways, it's obviously an absurd atmosphere. Zach is pointing out a good thing too. If you get the Adult Swim app, even though it has been canceled, they constantly run the seasons on a loop, which there was a period where I was turning that on, or I was turning on Rick and Morty's channel and going to sleep to that. But anyway, where was I going? Oh, it almost takes this absurd kind of universe and look, and they're like, well, what if this happened in the real world? And it was real people dealing with real problems. And it brings it though. Look, the whole thing is just brilliant. I'm sad to see it go. One thing I did not know, first of all, I did not know it was all completely in-house. The other thing I didn't know is that even though it looks like traditional animation, it's not. It's actually animated in a way that it's CG but made to look cartoon.
Yeah, and they do it so flawlessly too. That's the again, like perfect example. Another great show that was just announced was canceled, won't be renewed, from Adult Swim. Mike Tyson Mystery Team. Holy shit. Very funny, very good. But that as an example, you can definitely tell the things that they've had quickly done through computer animation, whether it be like a car turning into or turning around. You know, they're just those points where they're even if they're using the same backgrounds that the animation is on, this part you can definitely tell was rendered in a completely different manner. And the Venture Brothers, it's seamless the whole way through.
I think the only time I've ever picked up on anything that could have been ID'd as a hint of computer animation was probably in one of the most recent series. I think it may have been Series 6, where we see the Monarch's cocoon or hive or whatever it's called, the hovering thing. But it was coming at the island where there was a Venture base. And in that pursuit, I'm like, well, okay, that looks a little CG. And that's the closest I've ever come to noticing anything.
Yeah, gosh. Again, though, if I really hope that you're right, that it can be picked up on HBO Max.
Although you got it, that's a weird rumor, considering, like we said, that's all in the family, right?
Dude, who knows what's going on over at AT&T right now, because they are not a content company. And so for them now to be dealing with all these beloved and like very strong fan-based IPs is just bizarre.
By the way, it's funny you mention that, because I now realize, oh, well, how could they, if they're the same. Have you ever tried to manage an AT&T mobile device account online? I take pleasure, and I am usually in complete agreement every time John Oliver rips into AT&T on his show. It's atrocious. They don't know how to integrate for Jack. And okay, so I amend my previous statement. It's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that was a big bummer. That really, and oddly enough, I didn't expect like news of something like that to hit me the way it did.
Exactly the same. Like I have seen people for the, like when they talk about celebrity deaths or whatever, it really affects them. I've never had that kind of reaction but I likened that to what I was feeling when I saw that tweet come out from Jackson Public. Like, it was just like, ugh.
Yeah, well, and I think too, it I don't know why. It just seems like, and maybe it's because Venture Brothers was like one of the original, it's one of the OG titles from Adult Swim, right?
Yeah.
You've got Aqua Teen Hunger Force,
Yep.
and some others.
And yeah, there are very few that can have the same pedigree that it has.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like you thought, well, this is just something that why would they ever get rid of? Because, again, as I mentioned, it's a bit infrequent, so it's not like it's heavy on the budget, if you will, but it probably is.
But at the same time, they also have come up with clever ways for generating funds for creation through their t-shirt clubs every season.
Oh yeah, and as a matter of fact, one of the t-shirts that I know when I'm around like-minded folk, because if I wear my oh gosh, I'm gonna out myself as not really being fully in touch with the IP. Henchman, was it 23 that
24.
got 24? I have my Henchman 24 t-shirt from the t-shirt club, where it's nice. his face and then his life and the year he's born, the year he died. And when I get compliments on that t-shirt, I know I'm around good folk.
Yeah, you're around good people. Yep.
It's also one that I can finally fit into again. Anyway, that was really bad news to get, but we're also living in weird times, so I'm sure. Well, then again, Adult Swim, it's all animated. Maybe they gave all the money to Rick and Morty. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, in that same sense too, I really hope that Doc Hammer and Public have the rights to do a comic book, because that, like, the Rick and Morty comics have been amazing, been so good, and they carry on with the continuity and develop new things, new characters. They could do the exact same thing with Venture Brothers, but I don't know if that's something that they even want to do.
They've got to have certain rights in, at least in merchandise, because of the the likenesses and everything that they do on the t-shirts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the very first thing I thought too. It's like, I hope they have the rights for books or comic book publishing, because Although they did wrap up a lot of things in season 7, there were kind of new things that were revealed that I wanted to see played out in season 8.
Yep, agreed. Yeah,
In-
yeah, and like the whole introduction of Murder Bear too. Like this is a character that's been very pivotal in the last 2 seasons, and we don't know what's up with him.
Nope. And we have, once again, we had a divergence of what is going on with the self-titled Venture Brothers. Yep. Although, if you think about it, there are many times this show has played on that, right down to the fact that, oh, well, was this about Hank and Dean? Or at one point, was it about Rusty and...
Yep.
What is the smart little one's name that was inside of his brother the whole time?
Dang it.
Yeah, see?
Blanking.
Yeah, all I remember is the pirate saying the chairman.
It's his dad's name.
Oh, okay. So he was Jonas Jr.
Jr. Yep, JJ.
There we go. So anyway, I really hope we get to see that that play out more, at least in some type of publication method, if nothing else. Because it was a real kick in the nuts to read that. Again, 2020, let up. So, technology and streaming. Trent, obviously I've been dipping my toe into different methodologies. I've been doing different things on the internet. You have kind of seen me step away from, if you will, being proprietary all about NetHeads and kind of going into different mediums.
Yeah.
Interesting but subtle change that I noticed in YouTube. Now, 2 things. One, we're involved here and in other aspects of my life. I'm involved in a lot of what we would call restreaming or relaying of a video feed from one place to many places. One of the ways we used to do that would be through connections that would be supported by YouTube Live. YouTube Live and whatever Google's infinite wisdom has decided that they are ending that and they will now do YouTube events. So you do need to schedule an event in order to have a live.
Interesting.
None of that really matters, and it's not really the heart of the issue. I'm noticing, though, a slight change in verbiage that piqued my interest, because in the YouTube studio, so the area where you do all this, they have changed the left-hand identifier from videos. Now it's the word content.
I noticed that just last night.
Me too. Same time.
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends? I thought that was a very interesting but subtle change, because if you notice, if you pay attention to these things and if you're tracking the way things go, there was a subtle change in the narrative of online and social media presence. And people have been kind of split up into influencers. And then there are other people that didn't want to be known under that moniker, and they became known as content creators. So they're spanning, and okay, Will, clearly you've now outlined the fact that this is the bridge that you're trying to cross. Kind of, yes. But I thought it was a very interesting but subtle change in the language, because they're trying to appeal now to more people and to pigeonhole themselves, I guess, less. Is the concept.
Yeah. Well, especially as you've seen different platforms, right? Like a quote unquote content creator is not using Instagram as their primary platform, right? And because I create videos, right? And so now by muddying that water, it appeals to a bigger audience. It makes a ton of sense.
Well, yeah, and it's funny too, because when you look at the way, okay, let me just say, and again, I'm sorry, I know I constantly bring up TikTok, but it's a very entertaining platform. I don't know if it's going to be around 5 days from now. We'll find out.
Oh, geez.
Well, I don't know. I haven't kept up on the news. Like, all I know is that the American side of the company is suing the administration, so it can't be blocked. And I don't know if China released whatever it was they were doing that would block a potential sale and yada, yada, yada. But that particular platform, it's funny because I have been following content creators on there, and I've kind of seen how they've evolved. And every one of them seems to be doing the things that we were doing before. So it's almost like I've been doing it backwards, because they start on TikTok, if you will. They get a massive audience that they're then able to leverage to develop other things, like follow my Instagram. Follow my YouTube channel. I'm going to be streaming live I'm doing Twitch now. And it's just been interesting to see another platform develop people in other directions. So I understand why this content narrative is changing.
Right.
Because I think it's amazing in a way that I can be so insightful yet stupid at the same time. Because if you think about it, I've been telling you all the time, it's like, you know what? We can't pigeonhole ourselves as a podcast. We're a multi-hyphenate. We're a product. And I was on to something, but not quite right.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is though, like when especially, I mean, take me out of the equation, right? And
okay, bye. Oh, that's not what you meant.
And just look at like where you started with Play TV, right? Like, go pigeonhole that into something, right?
You know, Trent, it is an amazing analogy you bring up, but at the same time, when you bring up Play TV, I kind of feel like, hey, guy, it's been 20 years. Get a hint. You're not going anywhere.
Well, what I'm saying is like, it's not a curse, but that's what happens when you're an early adopter of technology, right?
Yes, definitely.
Is that you may not be able to take advantage of the zeitgeist because you're always looking for something better.
Yeah, exactly. Like using an iRig to try and send audio that won't work. I'm not bagging on the iRig. Usually it's been very, very reliable. But again, like I said, it just did an update on the iOS, I think yesterday, because everything updates now and everything changes so quickly. And I'm sure now, this is the fun world we live in now. I don't think we have talked, and you haven't seen it yet. Not that I think you ever go back and watch the videos anyway, but like the entire entry sequence and title cards and everything for the show have changed a little bit because I was playing around with things and I accidentally broke stuff. And that was all predicated on the fact that the camcorder stopped being able to be my primary camera. I had to go back to the C920 from Logitech. And you know, then now we live in a world where the technology has evolved to a point where you can do so many amazing things. But now the average person needs to up their game, and they got to learn about how to update firmware on devices.
Yeah.
And get a better idea about like drivers and things. So
I don't know though. I almost feel that there is also, at the same time that this is going on, there is a divergence. Like I almost feel like people are becoming less tech savvy at the same time. Because updates are so automatic all the time, and troubleshooting is so easy for remote or whatever it is. I don't know. I just in like my interactions professionally, I'm running into digital natives who should have a grasp on some pretty simple technical concepts, but are just dumbfounded, like completely out of their wheelhouse.
yeah, I get it completely. Because it's true. A lot of things have become a lot easier for people to do. It's so easy now. Like if you want to start a podcast, it is so easy to go online and buy a USB-based microphone, and you don't need a mixer.
Yeah, dude. Like I vividly remember in like 2008, like trying to figure it all out, and I got it all ready to go, and then I'm like, damn it, now I have to learn how to code so that I have a place to like put this. I just can't put it in like a Dropbox and go. I've got to actually create an RSS feed. How does that work?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and
that's not even like a thing that anyone would bother themselves with.
no, you don't even need. I mean, like, honestly speaking, we have netheadsonair.com for this podcast, and it is honestly the last consideration of all things.
Right.
But part of the reason is because I'm able to use a site like If This Then That to automatically publish the show and the videos, so I don't even need to look back.
Right. Yeah. Exactly, man.
Yeah, convenience has definitely made things easier. Obviously, I mean, anybody, quite literally, can start their own TV channel so easily, like through Twitch, you know?
Yes.
And you don't even need to spend money. You got some companies, they'll charge you $1 or $2 in order to get an idea about how to do things, but others will give you the tools for free. I don't understand why. I think, like, one of them is the difference between using Streamlabs or what is the other company? Streamlabs, or it's not up on my screen, so I can't tell you. But it's something else, and it's another. It's like Streamlabs, and they give you templates for setting up streaming so easily and having an advanced screen and all that jazz. And it just takes you one day to set up. So the convenience is great, but then you still sometimes need somebody that knows something in order to get some things done. Like there's a reason why people still come to me looking for advice and getting ideas and trying to understand how to do this or that.
You're spot on. And at the same time, one thing that I've found a lot of my professional work, at least as far as like instruction goes, is not on the technical side, but on the theoretical side, right? Like on how to light a scene.
Oh yeah.
How to light your video call, or how to talk into a microphone. Things that aren't necessarily technical, but are more based on like the aesthetic side of things that there isn't a template for, right?
Well, now I'm just sitting here envious of your fancy headset while I'm sitting here with this black mushroom in front of my face. But
hey,
still, there are people.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was just gonna say I did tests, and I do prefer the deep gain that is gained from the other microphone, but this is very convenient for moving around and not having to be up in a microphone the whole time. Especially it blocks out the fan I've got running too. So anyway.
Oh, even better. Yeah, my whole thing was I just figured, he was just running commentary up till the last minute before we went on air.
No, just haven't switched it off from when I did commentary.
Fair enough. I get it completely. And you're right, though. There are a lot of people that do need to understand the theoretical, both in simple things like having fill lighting, backlighting, making sure you're right there on the microphone so that way you can cut down on reflection or slap back or whatever you want to call it. But then there's also other things, too. It's like, okay, well, there are some people that can't comprehend how we do what we do. It's like, how did we make this work? Or like in another instance where I was taking the output from this computer and I was sending it to another computer so that way when I was on a video conference, I could do more things. If I wanted to stream, if I didn't want to be on camera, but I still wanted to stream like music to keep people entertained, I could do that. If I wanted to have the ability to title in a live situation, I could do that. So it's amazing how easy it can be and how complex it can be, I guess is what I'm getting at. But we live in some of the shittiest times right now, but they're also some of the most interesting times.
Will, I would like to say it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
And what better note to wrap things up for today. Trent, one of the things, though, we never get to talk about, so we got to remind everybody because it's still happening and it's great entertainment, especially nowadays where we're looking for anything we can, including on Hulu, Woke by Lamorne Morris, I think is his name.
Oh, it's in my queue. I haven't watched it yet.
It's an interesting watch. I don't feel it's appropriate for me to make comment on it, but it's a very interesting watch. I'll leave it at that. But
I can do it.
Let's talk some devotion, shall we? Just really quick.
Yes, please, and thank you. I shoot, produce, do most of the production, edit, and do commentary on a weekly professional wrestling show. It is written by the controversial yet influential Vince Russo of the Attitude Era of WWE and WCW. You can check it out on YouTube. And we also just got a deal where we're going to be, we're now a sister association with OVW. So Al Snow's Wrestling Network is picking up all of our content as well. But yeah, go to Devotion Wrestling on YouTube and you can catch up on, oh gosh, what are we at? I think I'm working on episode 28, but 26 episodes are up right now.
And if it's on YouTube, that means it's free entertainment, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so cash in on that. I got to tell you, I even enjoy watching it, and that's why I love also following you on social media, because it's able to remind me when something new is up, or like when you throw some of those highlights out. I eat them up like candy.
Yeah, that is one of the fun parts. Is each show starts off with previously on, right? And so I get to do a highlight reel from every episode, and I always share those out on the social medias.
Well, Zach's pointing out that that's some real devotion, Trent. I'll have to check that out. And Miranda Ragland, as she's listed on YouTube, says, "Frickin' dream job, kudos, Trent." Yeah, well, that's one of the things. Sometimes you just got to make the job you want to do.
Yeah, and that's totally what it is. Yep, it's usually from I get off work from the university at 5, and I'm working on that usually to about 2 a.m. every night.
Yeah, and honestly speaking, if there are people that are like, "Hey, Will, why are you bringing this Bry guy in?" First of all, Brian Stoner is a fun guy, and I enjoy talking to him. But the other reason too is because Trent's passionate about devotion wrestling, and the last thing I want to do is be a burden. So I want to give you that ability to breathe. And well, because dude, I said this the last episode when you weren't here, when I was talking to Brian, and it's true. I've been very fortunate. It has been 10 years that you have taken the time to sit down and talk to me, and other than the occasional treat like a Nintendo Switch Lite or a manual push mower,
Yes,
or a big shipment of meat or whatever, you've asked for no payment at all. So let me say this to your face, sir, because I am honestly, oh my God, I'm crying about this. I am honestly very appreciative of the fact that you have given me 10 years of your time and not asked for anything, and just simply done this because either you want to, or now you're just successfully guilted into continuing to do it. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because it is, other than seeing the smile on my wife's face and the joy in my kids' faces and the puppy gnawing on all my crap, this is one of those things that I look forward to. So thank you.
Will, you're very welcome.
With that, folks, that is it for NetHeads in this installment. Thank you very much for joining us live. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much to our Patreon supporters. You are all people that we appreciate and love. Once again, I didn't write down names. I frickin' suck at this, but I will get better. Thank you, Trent. If you want to follow him, he is a part of him on his social media. I'm that Will Wilkins. The show is NetHeads on Air. And until next time, we'll be back
soon.
Anytime now.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
I don't mean to toot my own horn at all, Trent, but I don't know if this is something you've heard, but I think it's kind of funny. So when that Kevin Smith Club went live, there are certain things now that are exclusive to that Kevin Smith Club. For example, Jay and Silent Bob is it's now a club exclusive. Edumacation is club exclusive, and Kylie Bear was no longer available for doing the outros. So I pitch in on this. So now, if you're a member of that Kevin Smith Club and you're listening to the podcast, this is what you hear at the end of those.
This podcast has been produced exclusively for members of thatkevinsmithclub.com.
Is that douchey?
I didn't get it.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
Audio didn't come through for me.
Well, perfect then.